All right, let's just jump right in. We're living in this, well, this kind of strange paradox, right? We are creating more data than at any other point in human history. But here's the kicker. Are we actually making any better, smarter choices because of it? That's the huge question we're going to unpack here.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Every single click, every search, every time you buy something, it all just adds to this gigantic, ever-growing mountain of data. But here's the thing. More information doesn't automatically equal more wisdom. A lot of the time, it just leads to more noise, more confusion.
And we're not just talking about a little trickle of new info here. Oh no. It is a full-on tidal wave. We are, and I mean this quite literally, drowning in an ocean of data. And the numbers behind it, they're just staggering.
The scale of this is, honestly, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. Trillions of gigabytes every single day. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose of information that's pointed right at us 24/7. So the challenge isn't about getting data anymore, not at all. The real trick is figuring out what on earth to do with all of it.
So to help us make sense of this whole mess, let's bring in an expert. Her name is Cassie Kozyrkov, and she's actually the founder of the field of decision intelligence. She has this absolutely brilliant way of reframing our entire relationship with data. And it all starts with a simple but really powerful distinction.
Believe it or not, it all started when she was just a kid. She discovered spreadsheets and, fell in love with them. She started meticulously cataloging her gemstone collection, and she found the whole process of entering data, well, pretty unsoothing, as she put it. But here's the question. Was that data important? I mean, it was beautiful to look at, for sure, but it didn't change what she did with her gemstones one bit. It didn't lead her to take any new kind of action.
And this right here is the absolute heart of it. This is the key takeaway. Data isn't valuable just because it exists, or because it's all nicely organized in a spreadsheet. It only, and I mean only, becomes important when it actually has the power to change our actions. Its real value is measured by what it makes us do.
So how did we even get here, right? How did we go from being careful collectors of information to being digital hoarders? The whole story really is a story about technology.
Kozyrkov has this great term for it. She calls data a memory prosthesis. And from the very beginning of human history, that's exactly what it's been. See, our brains are kind of terrible at remembering huge amounts of specific information. So what did we do? We invented tools to help us out.
It all started with things like clay tablets, right? Just to remember who owed who what. Then, boom, the printing press comes along, and suddenly we can share memories and knowledge on a massive scale. Fast forward to early computers. Now, that memory is searchable, but storage was still super expensive, really precious. And then the internet happened. And just like that, storage became virtually free, basically infinite.
And this slide just shows the complete 180 in our mindset. We went from treating data like this precious, scarce resource that you collected for a very specific reason to treating it like a hoarder's messy storage locker. Just stuffed to the brim with things we might need someday. The value isn't obvious anymore. It's buried somewhere deep inside all that noise.
Okay, and this is exactly where generative AI comes in and completely changes the game. It's not just another tool for crunching numbers. No, it's a totally new way to have a conversation with that messy, overstuffed storage locker of data we've all been collecting.
Think about how it used to be. Before, if you wanted to find something valuable in your data, you had to learn some complex, totally unnatural programming language. It was a massive barrier for most people. But now you can just ask. You can literally speak to the data in plain English and tell it what you're looking for.
And what that means is that the bottleneck has totally shifted. It's not about your technical skills anymore. The single biggest skill of tomorrow is knowing what you want in the first place and then being able to actually articulate that question clearly.
So this brings us to the solution, right? If the real key is asking better questions, well, how do we do that? This is where the decision intelligence framework comes into play. It's designed to put the human and their choices right back in the center of the entire process.
Okay, so it starts by asking a really simple question. What is my default action? In other words, what am I going to do if I learn absolutely nothing new from this data? Then, and only after you've answered that, do you ask the next question. What specific evidence would be powerful enough to actually change my mind? See how that works? It immediately cuts through all the noise and focuses your attention.
And finally, you have to know your priorities, because you just can't analyze everything. You've got to focus on the decisions that truly, truly matter.
Now this is the question that so many leaders are asking right now. How do I put AI in my business? But it's the wrong question. It starts with the technology and then goes looking for a problem to solve. And honestly, that is a recipe for some very expensive and very pointless projects.
The much better question, the right question, is this one. It starts with your purpose. It forces you to look at your biggest challenges, your most ambitious goals, and ask, hey, with this new tech, are those things suddenly achievable?
This really gets to the core mindset shift. AI isn't just about doing things a little faster or more efficiently. It's an invitation to just kick down the door on all our old assumptions and completely reconsider what we're truly capable of.
But ultimately, this all comes back to us, to people. No matter how powerful the technology gets, the responsibility for that final decision, it stays squarely on human shoulders.
Look, we all have cognitive blind spots. Our memories are faulty, we have biases. Technology is a prosthesis. It's a tool that can help us supplement those weaknesses. But it can't tell you what's important. It can't define your values or your mission. That is always our job.
Think of it like this: your data and your AI systems, they're the engine. They provide all the raw power. But you, the human, you are the driver. Your judgment, your experience, that's what makes the calls on the road. And maybe most importantly, your priorities. That's the steering wheel. That's what determines which direction you're even headed. And without a steering wheel, a powerful engine isn't just useless, it's downright dangerous.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question. In this new age of incredibly powerful engines, are you going to be a passenger or a driver, right? We all have access to these amazing new tools. Are you going to just be a passenger, letting the data and the algorithms take you wherever they happen to go? Or are you going to grab that steering wheel, set your own priorities, and drive toward the future that you want to create? The choice, as they say, is yours.